Transition game. USF controls of the road, green uniforms with Flores running the point. We're underway tonight in Philly. It's an early Lotsko three, and she delivers.
And that's exactly what Tanaya Cardoza told us before the game, that they'd have to defend the three-point arc because this is a team similar to Villanova. They're going to shoot as many threes as they get.
The officials tonight, Joe Vasili, Shannon Feck, and Jeffrey Smith. Keep an eye on Lotsko as well. She came down awkwardly there on that shot.
I saw that, and she's still continuing to limp a little bit down the floor. But a nice early start for her. She hasn't been able to get going the last couple of games.
The USF lineup features Flores running the point, who leads the American in assists, and the rating Freshman of the Year, Henshaw, as well. She's a player that can run the floor.
Henshaw is one of those players that's just a tremendous sophomore. She had a really great freshman year, but she's going to be even better this season. And then on the other side, we see Temple's starters. And again, we mentioned in the open, they're a little bit hurt right now.
Lotsko will go 1 of 2, and here comes Atkinson. Leah Butt's done for the year with that torn ACL as Perry was driving in. Also, Desiree Oliver hasn't played since the Harvard game. And Shannon Atkinson has also been ailing with an injury.
And that's a problem. I mean, especially not having Aaliyah Butts. Aaliyah Butts is the big player out for the year with the ACL. They expected to have her back. She was their best player by far last year. And so they've had to do it by committee, counting on Atkinson and Berger.
There's Henshaw in the post. Jespersen frees up Ferreira from 3. Atkinson trying to get the miss. Instead, here comes Amani Mayo.
And now Temple's going to want to run the tempo here, Dave. They're going to try to look to push the basketball.
House coming off of a 3-point win over SMU as Perry was way off. That's a player that Tanaya Cardoza talked to us pregame really has to turn it on. And obviously they're trying to do this without Aaliyah Butts, their all-conference guard.
She's got to turn it on because a player like Butts is out. And not only does Butts bring that energy that you love at the point, but she's a leader and a terrific scorer and passer that they're going to be excited to get back next year.
Jespersen trying to take Perry to the rack, and she walked. Will go the opposite way to Temple. Jespersen, though, Juliet, has been fantastic for Jose Fernandez, especially when Lotska's been struggling for the field in recent games. Jespersen's been picking it up.
And I remember specifically when she was a sophomore, Jose telling me that something triggered in her in that Harvard game that season, and since then, she has been phenomenal. Last year, this year, she's carried it over. She can shoot. She's better at getting to the basket.
Atkinson, counted out of foul.
Tanaya Atkinson.
And Atkinson here, so good at getting to the hole. She draws 2 players, and it was a little bit too late of a rotation for South Florida, and she was already there at the rim, and that's what she does well. And she certainly is a player that gets to the free throw line, 2nd in the nation in free throw attempts. So that means she gets to the rim, Dave, which is pivotal.
She cramped at the latter stage of the 4th quarter against SMU. We're total 100% ready to go tonight. Started off the year with 4 consecutive double-doubles. Jespersen with a pull-up.
It's going to be difficult to stop them from the perimeter. You just got to hope they miss, but you've got to play them for those shots, not allow threes. I think that's the key for Tanya's team.
They did an excellent job defending the 3-ball this year, hindering opponents below 28%. But a tough task for Temple.
They're going to try to crowd them as much as possible because, like she said to us, it's kind of like playing Villanova. It's a Big 5 team. They're used to playing them. All they do is shoot threes, too.
Henshaw will take Perry. She's the reigning Freshman of the Year in the American Conference.
Just a blue-collar athlete, one of those hard-working, nitty-gritty players.
Haven't called Mia Davis's number too much yet. There she is with the ball here, 25. She's that second option for Temple, but another turnover here on the outs.
That's a key. You don't want to turn it over against South Florida because typically they will make you look silly on the other end and capitalize off of those turnovers.
And speaking with Tanaya Cardoza, she told us that she didn't deal with any of the injuries that she's experienced this year in her whole career at Temple.
Right, and that's 10 years. She's in her 10th year, and she's never had it. And she's never played this many freshmen getting big minutes.
Second turnover on South Florida.
One positive to that, Dave, is next year she'll have a group of freshmen that are going to have experience. And Jose Fernandez last year lost a whole slew of excellent seniors, so they weren't expected to really be as good last year. This year they brought them all back, so it's kind of like a flip-flop. There's more pressure on them this year because of all their seniors back.
Perry for three. She really needs to get going because she's coming off of a subpar performance. 6 turnovers in the last outing against SMU. Bulls are coming off a 51-point loss to number 1 UConn, but prior to that, did defeat Cincinnati and Tulane. We're geared up and ready to go following that UConn defeat. Had their largest crowd at the Sundome, nearing 7,000 in the stands, and a beautiful drive in there by Laura Ferreira.
Last year, Ferreira was out with plantar fasciitis, which was a painful thing for her. She is such a good point guard, and so good to see her back on the floor.
Turnover caused by Flores. She'll get it back and spots it for 3. Lotska trying to get the miss. It will go back to the Owls thanks to the hustle by that player right there, Tanaya Atkinson. And a daunting task for her this season because a lot's levied on her shoulders without Butts out. She's the floor general and sets the tone on both sides of the floor.
Yeah, you're right, Dave. I mean, so much pressure on her to bring the toughness every day. She's answered the call beautifully, but if she's for some reason out or injured or in foul trouble, they're in trouble because she really does do it all.
Play halted here with 5:28 to go. Both teams called to the benches. The officials were conferring there, and then South Florida is going to come out onto the floor. They're going to bring in Alyssa Rader as their first substitution. It appears that Henshaw was bleeding, so she had to come out. And Rader is now in for USF. Here's Berger. Deja Reynolds also checking in at the top of your screen, wearing number 23 of the white uniforms. Reynolds with it here, the extra pass. Berger for 3. And the long board to Flores. One of the best passers in the American Conference in Flores. Jesperson with the right hand. Fresh 30 here for the Bulls.
That's a good hustle, getting that second chance opportunity. You've got to put a body on Jesperson.
Jesperson double. Ferreira running baseline past Mayo with a left hand. Rader trying to get the miss instead of pinballs to Berger. Berger sees a seam and with the right hand scores.
That's a nice job. And Berger jammed her finger, missed the past couple of games. Doesn't look like she's struggling with her handle or shot with that one, but they need her to be 100%.
Coming off a career-high 8 assists in the SMU game. Ferreira with the left hand. A lot of patience by both teams in the half court.
Absolutely. Not a lot of running, which I kind of expected the opposite, to be honest. These two teams like to run, and it's been a half-court game.
So we'll stay with Temple here as we reach a timeout with USF leading by 1 over the Owls.
Well, this is a close one, and both teams going back and forth, and Khadijah Berger to the back.
St. John's, Washington State, and Butler, and this is one of the most dynamic rosters in the American.
Oh, man, they are all foreign, almost all foreign. Right before this team was leaving the Big East Conference, Jose Fernandez decided to go all in with international. That was something that he does every year, goes to the Nike Nationals and then oversees the whole month of July. They spend a pretty penny, but it's now become their strength because they get the best players from Europe, and that's like getting a blue chip player from the U.S., and it's worked out well for him. And Lox is one of them. Kitty Alaksa. You've really got to know how to say their names, that's for sure. Every year we do them, I have to make sure we get their pronunciations right. She's from Latvia.
Yeah, she's 2 of 2 from 3 right now. In the last 2 games combined, she's 1 of 14 from downtown. There's a good drive by Davis. Another player that really needs to get going for the Owls.
She does, because she gets a lot of minutes. And between her and some of the other freshmen, you've got Mayo, you've got some players that have to step up. Perry, you mentioned earlier. Now, they're going to need that. And by that I mean production, energy. That's what Tanya wants out of them.
13 to shoot here for Ferreira, driving baseline. Cardozo 1 and a walk. Here's Rader. Extra pass. Lotska. She's 3 of 3 from downtown.
Nice inside, outside passing. That's how to find your scorer, your shooter in the corner. Rader with the vision.
Became a 1,000-point scorer against LSU in November, the 23rd player in program history to do so. And this is also a superior athlete who dropped Julianne 40 against Southern in December.
She's perfectly capable of that. And last year she had some 30-point performances. She's had some this year, 30, 40-point outings. She's not just a shooter anymore, and that's how Locks has gotten better. She can also do other things. Now, her best attribute is that shooting, but she's diversified herself.
And there's Amaya Mayo connecting from 3. Replaced Micaiah Jones at the starting lineup 5 games in.
But she's gotten better and better. When we first saw Temple, it was like the first game of the year. And she was a little bit more nervous. She's settling in now.
And the 3 for the quarter is drained by Alba Prieto coming off the bench from Seville, Spain.
Very hard to keep up with South Florida if it's going to be a 3-point competition.
Coming in, USF drains 9 threes per game, shooting about 37%. You see the 4 of 6 right now from 3. And the Owls down by 5 in the half court. Davis for 2. Well short, will go back to USF. Now, what have you made of the opening quarter so far from Temple and South Florida?
I think both teams battling here. It's a close game. I think that I expected that early. It's always a good competition between the two teams. The last time they met was last year. Temple was 25th in the country at the time. They lost 63-58 in the American Conference Tournament semis, so a good history between the two.
Lotska drains her 4th 3. She is perfect from 3-point land and forces.
Come up and play well, and would the team have confidence after getting beat pretty bad by UConn? That was a game I know Jose Fernandez wasn't too happy about because he's got a veteran squad, so he didn't expect them to play as down to competition as they did. They didn't play well at all.
Here's Temple out of the timeout. It's a Mayo 3 that was contested by Lotska again. Comes Laya Flores. Atkinson, you see, coming up from the post and guarding her in the backcourt. Rader trying to get past Davis. Temple wanted a walk. They won't get it. Nonetheless, the rebound back to Davis. Tanaya Atkinson just held to 3 points right now. USF doing a good job on her as Reynolds was driving in. Foul's going to be assessed to Prieto. And Deja Reynolds will be at the line. So far, South Florida executing the game plan here, halting Tanaya Atkinson right now, one of the best scorers in the American.
Well, I have to say this about South Florida. One of the best, most prepared teams, I guess is the best way to put it. They prep really well. Jose, a huge statistic guy. Coach Osterman is on the bench with him. He is the guy that focuses the most on that kind of stuff, and he's on the right, to the right there, sitting there. Those two guys have been coaching forever together, and they're so good at preparation and making teams do what they don't want to do.
Ferreira trying to get past 2. Owls coming here against the Owls. And will go against Reynolds. You mentioned South Florida's prowess. 5 straight 20-win seasons under Fernandez and his coaching staff. He's in his 18th year. 3 straight NCAA trips as well. It's a program that hasn't been to the Sweet 16, but look for them to get there one day.
Yeah, definitely. Now, they're no longer in the Big East Conference, and so since then, I know recruiting's changed, which is why he went European. You're not going to get the kids he used to get, because think about that schedule. You play UConn, you play all the big teams.
Prieto with the right hand.
And she looks pretty nice today. She's playing assertive.
Shot clock unplugged. 8 seconds to go for Atkinson, trying to draw the contact. Offensive foul on Tanaya Atkinson.
And that's a way to defend, and that's a part of having a toughness to your demeanor and to your defensive effort. Nice job here getting to the spot by Ferreira.
2 seconds here for Lotska. That's her first missed field goal of the game. But after 1 quarter of play, South Florida has a 10-point edge over the Temple Owls.
And you really got to...
Over the Temple Owls, and look who made the trip up north. I don't know why. Because
Yeah,
the
what are you thinking?
weather's a lot nicer back in Tampa. Nonetheless,
really
they're
is.
cheering on their team.
I know you've got some family there. You were recently there, right, Dave?
Yes, I was. It was a great time, and USF had a marvelous crowd. We're told that was the best crowd in program history
That's
against
pretty
UConn.
cool. They've got, and the Sun Dome is amazing and a cool place to play in. Typically, South Florida, so tough to beat on their home floor, but UConn's another story.
Henshaw in the post, taking Perry. Seems like they're going after the freshman Perry. Lotska will pull up. She's only missed 2 shots tonight. Give her 14 to lead all scorers.
Yeah, she sure has a stroke, and she's playing with a lot of confidence today.
Reynolds still staying in the game, and also checking in Shantae Taylor in the post, battling Henshaw.
Something about USF, Dave, they don't foul. They've typically been a team that doesn't foul, but they can't even more so because they have no bench. Look at their bench. They've got nobody to really put in. So you're not going to see too many fouls.
We've only seen Prieto and Rader coming off the bench. It's the aforementioned Prieto, hauled in by Reynolds. We haven't seen Temple get out in transition. See how they do here with Atkinson. Quickly stymied there by Lotska.
That's good defense, and locks up very long on the defensive end.
Micaiah Jones from deep.
Nice shot. That's the way to be ready to shoot, catching in rhythm, and space the floor out. This Temple team can shoot too.
Grad transfer from Georgetown, started her career in Wake Forest. Actually began the season in the starting lineup for the first 4 games. Lotska again, it's her first miss from 3. Henshaw tried to get the miss. And the officials conferring here, and it will go back to Temple. Jesperson's going to come in for Prieto. Davis as well. The Reynolds of the Temple half. But how about the combination, Julian? You have Jesperson and Lotska. If you're any other team in the American Conference, and when you get into postseason play, you just have to really center on those two when you get the game plan.
Right, you center on them, and then you just make the rest of the team beat you, and I think they're going to see that quite a bit moving forward.
Davis for the left hand, compliments of the dime from Taylor.
Really great pass by Taylor. That's the way to turn, face, find the open player diving.
Just like that, back to a 5-point game.
When Temple's patient, they tend to be better. They don't turn the ball over as much.
Flores, counted on a foul for Laya Flores, the senior.
What a drive. She runs the team. This is a nice job, hesitating and then splitting the 2 defenders with the finish, absorbing that contact, but the hesitation and then the change of speed is what got her there. So good at keeping the ball low to the ground, doesn't bring it up for the big guys to get a piece of it. Just a really nice knack and ability to score and to pass.
We'll stay on this side with South Florida. Jose Fernandez has seen Flores make that shot. If you've seen any of South Florida's previous games, Flores is a player that can drive. You look like it's an out-of-control shot, but she finishes, though.
Well, typically with her, since she passes so much, she's ranked in the country in that department. Most players covering her play her for the pass. So if she can shoot and take it herself and be more assertive, which she's been doing this season, makes her tougher to figure out what she's going to do. And you got to guard her.
Davis. Yep. Flores leads the American in assists. 3rd all-time behind Shanita Grace and Renee Bellamy in USF history as well. Vanessa Blackman just checking in, and she coughs it up. Maya, the freshman,
Nice.
trying to get it to Jones.
Threading that needle.
Davis, short. Blackman with the miss. Jesperson. Perry gets it for the Owls, and here comes Micaiah Jones, gaining valuable minutes even though she's coming off the bench. Good move by Davis, came up short. There's Ferreira for the Bulls. Flores, extra pass, Blackman off the bench from 3.
I'll tell you what, Blackman came in against UConn the other day, as well as some of the other subs, and they played their hearts out. Looked better than the starters. Just played with a swag, and that's a nice job by Blackman coming in and just being that spark plug you need.
And you can see how unselfish South Florida is in transition.
They move the ball. That's when the defense is scrambling and tends to get lost, and when the open shots come.
Under 10 to shoot here for Perry. Steps back for 3. Mayo was rejected there by Ferreira. 3-on-2 here for the Bulls. Blackman on the no-look pass. Flores. Jesperson for 3. Here go the Bulls, and it causes a timeout by Tanya Cardoza.
And this is where you got to stop the bleeding. Because when South Florida gets run, it's pretty insane. And a lot of these international players know each other because they've been playing against each other in Europe. So that's how, and a lot of them have played on national teams, and they've grown up together, so they all knew who they were. And it's just interesting because you get some players that no one knows about in the U.S., and you can really mold them into your type of player. And they've done terrific in this program.
Sort of effort to get Atkinson going after the timeout. Now Atkinson just held to 3 points. The foul's going to be administered to Prieto. We'll send Tanaya Atkinson back at the line. Coming off of a double-double performance, 23 and 11 against SMU. Was held, however, against UCF in the 30-point defeat for the Avs. It's her only non-double-figure game in the series.
She's going to see it a lot this season, David, and I think it'll make her a better player. It's going to be difficult because she's going to be double-teamed quite a bit.
This was a 5-point game prior to the timeout to begin the second quarter. See South Florida not getting to the free throw line too much in this game. 10 to shoot here for Flores. Down low, Raider on the mismatch there, taking the freshman Mayo.
Raider's got some size on the block, and she's been a nice player. You know, last year she redshirted, came from that Sky, the Big Sky Conference.
Atkinson, double, trying to go over Ferreira, rebound Davis. She'll go to the line.
Any second and third opportunities that Temple can get will be pivotal. And they've also got some points right now off of turnovers that if they can force some turnovers, that'll help them get some easy baskets. But a nice little up and under move here. Didn't really see too much contact on the first shot, but then the second shot, nice job following it.
What does Temple's other players have to realize in a double situation when Atkinson has it in the post? Should someone be running on the weak side?
Someone's open, so you've got to recognize if your player's the one double teaming, then you've got to cut to space, and that's a basketball IQ and just a knack you need to have and an awareness on the court. So whenever you see a double coming, you gotta find space, and then you've got to be able to pass out of it.
Shea Leverett's going to come in. That's depth in the interior for Jose Fernandez. Averages about 13 minutes a game. A 12-point game now. Flores will pull up. That's past Ferrer. We'll go back to Temple. What do you want to see from the Owls here, Julian, to climb back in this one? Down right now by 12.
Well, since they're not able to run it here, they're going to be in the half court. They've got to be able to move the ball. I think when they're patient with the basketball, they get a lot of people touching the ball and getting inside and not settling just for perimeter shots. They've been able to work it inside. I think that they can try to out-muscle South Florida. South Florida in the past has sometimes had trouble with teams that are more physical. So I do think that's another thing that they could do is just be tough and more physical.
Berger for three. Tanya Cardoza comments to us pregame that her team really needs to improve in the half-court sense. So lethal in the transition game. Haven't run too much tonight.
But so far, South Florida controlling the tempo in that regard, keeping it a half-court game, even though they do like to run. They're keeping tempo in the half-court.
See the Bulls shooting 50% in the second stanza. 6 to shoot here for Lotska. Let's see the shot clock. Now does. Trying to get past Atkinson with the right hand. Counted on the foul for the superstar, Lotsa.
This is where Loxa's game is improved because she's such a threat from the perimeter. You see here, she's able to take you off the bounce. Just a little bump at the end that time. And we look at it from this end. But good recognition to clear that right side out for her. And that's the right call. She actually got bumped, bodied at the end of that play by Reynolds coming over to help. But that's one of the areas that if you're a good shooter, you have got to be able to do.
Second foul on Reynolds with the ball here in the left hand. Can't get it to go. Go off of the Owls. Atkinson back to South Florida, leading by 15. And she really is visibly frustrated, Juliet.
Good credit. You've got to give credit to South Florida. And I do think they could run maybe a few more plays for her on the other end, but they've got to have some people that can get her the ball.
A drought for the last 4 minutes plus of the Owls.
That's where you really miss Aaliyah Butts. She's a spark plug. She can pass the ball. She's a scorer.
Lotska with the right hand. Really feeling it here in Philly.
She's got the mid-range game. She's got the floaters. She's got the three-point game. Tremendous performance in the first half.
Atkinson amid the trees. There's Davis with the right hand. Short again. We'll go back to USF. Perry's going to come in here for Temple. Berger's going to go to the bench. Atkinson with just her 3 points right now. On the flip side, Kydia Lotsa with 19 pacing all scores. Coming off the screen here. Flores with the right hand again. Davis looking to push. This is who they usually find in transition. Atkinson can't finish. Good work nonetheless by Brianna Perry, the freshman out of Michigan.
And in order to push, Dave, you've got to rebound. So if Temple can rebound, this is a push. In transition, this is a very high degree of difficulty shot. And then the putback by Perry was able to draw the flesh. She's also an accomplished high jumper, so she can really get off the floor, Brianna Perry.
But they need Tanaya Atkinson to go for those shots, even though there's a degree to difficulty when you're in transition. This is the play they rely on.
Oh, yeah. She's got to take tough shots. And that's what's difficult about being the centerpiece of everybody's defensive scheme.
Prieto now running the point for USF. Lotsa out to Ferreira.
This is where you can't help. It's not good defense. If you're covering Lotsa, why are you even helping in the lane? Your foot shouldn't even be in the lane. She's got 22 points, I think, right now.
Jesperson has 8 of 13 from 3 is USF. Off of Atkinson. Prieto stolen away by the freshman Mayo. Fresh 30 here for the Owls. Mayo into Atkinson. She'll get fouled. Shannon Feck, official, was all over that, to the dismay of Jose Fernandez.
They're really looking to force it into Atkinson. She's able to get the ball this time and draw the foul. It's been a difficult day for her, but she's getting to the line. And she's a matchup problem because she's at the 4 spot typically, and it's kind of a stretch 4 kind of player because she can move around a bit. She can cover point guard. She can cover 4s. She's only about 5'9", 5'10". She's got that ability.
7 points for Atkinson in the game. 24 career double-doubles to her pedigree. senior season here on North Broad Street. Prieto off the window.
Just way too easy. USF getting everything they want each time down the floor. Patience. Their guards can really score.
She's got 7 off the bench. Davis. Leverett was all over her. Atkinson going up for the board. She's going to get called for the foul. You see she's all over the place, just trying to get involved every way. Now upcoming at the break, we'll take a look at the American Conference updated standings. We'll also look at our star comparison of a few players on the floor. First have highlight stats and much more here from Philadelphia. Atkinson's going to come out and get a breather here. With 1:34 to go in the half. 2 fouls on Tanaya Atkinson. Jesperson. That's a good move, but she walked too many steps there.
Yep. That's the right call.
Five turnovers on the Bulls. They average under 12, which is 4th in the nation. Their shooting is superb. Really take care of the basketball as well.
The fundamentals are what South Florida always strikes me as very good at.
Prieto with a lob for Jesperson. She got clobbered there. There's going to be a call coming up against the Owls here. Going to go against Perry, the freshman for Temple.
Foul number 2, Brianna Berry, that's her second. Team foul number 5.
15th foul also on the Owls in the second quarter. So Jesperson will go back to the line. We mentioned their pedigree this year and some of the teams they beat. Now the 4 losses, these are teams that are just so stealthy, Juliet. USF has lost to Notre Dame, is right now ranked at number 2 in the latest AP poll. Oklahoma, Michigan State, and the last game, UConn.
Certainly been quite the season. Their strength of schedule has been nothing short of difficult, and that's something that Jose Fernandez is a big believer of. He wants his players to get better, and they're gonna be better whether or not they see it yet or not. And they've pulled away with some wins during their non-conference schedule.
The top 30 RPI team. 10 points for Jesperson under a minute to play in our first half. Temple down by 20. Largest deficit tonight. Berger tossed that one away to the Bulls. Jesperson trying to take the senior offensive foul on Maria Jesperson.
And going to the basket here in transition, going pretty fast. Ooh. Yeah, she dipped her shoulder a little bit.
6 turnovers on the Bulls to 5 for Temple. And a 15-second game at shot clock differential. Davis trying to blaze past Jesperson. It does successfully. Shot clock unplugged here with the Bulls. Up by 18. And they'll get the set play from Jose Fernandez. Prieto trying to split 2. No call. Hackshaw. Ferreira trying to beat the horn. That will do it for half number 1. A resounding start for South Florida after a 51-point loss to UConn. They have a big lead over Temple.
Well, they've got to be happy with their level of play right now. They're shooting some points, but they need a lot more offense from their leading scorer in Atkinson and then the role players. So they've got to find a way to put it together. To me, they want to try to make this messy because it's been clean, and that's how South Florida wants it.
Bulls shot an impressive 53% for the field in the second quarter, and an early call coming up here by Jeffrey Smith. Away for the ball. It's going to go against Davis of Temple. Good bounce play drawn up by Fernandez into Ferreira.
Nice finish, and I do like Ferreira and her ability today. She's been real good at just getting around the rim.
Atkinson rejected, clean block there by Henshaw. See, the first look went to Tanaya Atkinson, no surprise. Flores driving baseline, extra pass. Jesperson for 3.
See, that can't happen. I mean, you've got to find the shooters, especially Jespersen and Laksa on the perimeter. On the catch, you can't be trailing the play.
Second three of the game for Amani Mayo. Give her 8. The freshman from Georgia, averaging 8 points per game. Numbers were very down for Temple from 3. 3 of 11 the first half from downtown, as Latska now has 21 in the game.
Well, she was held down against UConn, and she is certainly responding in this one. Just finding her sweet spot the whole day.
Has only missed 3 shots from the field tonight. Time to shoot for Atkinson.
And that's going to get you going. That'll boost your confidence after not getting too many open looks in the first half. She knocks one down early.
Fella get away from the ball here, but if you're South Florida, are you content giving up that 10-foot baseline jumper to Atkinson because she's so good around the 10?
Well, I think so. I mean, I think that you'd rather her take that than get in to the paint, although she's gotten better from the perimeter. If you're going to give something up, I do think that's the shot to give up, Dave. Because she's great on the glass, and this is a clear out for Laksa. Really nice call by Jose Fernandez, just clearing that right side out. Let her go one-on-one.
She has 23 now for the Bulls. Atkinson, tightly contested there by Jespersen, and here's Perry. All the starters out there for both sides. Perry driving in, wanted the call. She'll get it on the Temple behalf. It's going to go against Ferreira of the Bulls. Now, if this does get to a half-court game and the teams aren't running, who do you think that would favor in the latter stages of this one?
I think South Florida, because South Florida is the more disciplined team, and they're older, and they know how to score in the half-court, I think, a little better than Temple.
There's Perry back at the line for the Owls. In fact, she was an accomplished high jumper in high school, out of Flushing High School. You see Davis go to the bench. Shantae Taylor, the sophomore from Columbia, South Carolina, is going to come in. Davis has to go to the bench. She's mired by 3 fouls. That's huge for Temple because Julianne, she's really that second option as far as offensive production behind Tanaya Atkinson.
Right. You can't afford anyone to be in foul trouble in this one, Dave, and being on the bench. And you're right, she's been pretty good and producing some buckets. And, man, the freshman from Temple getting a lot of minutes this season. We're going to have a seasoned sophomore class next year. This year is going to be a tough year.
3 straight 20-win seasons under Tanya Cardoza. 4 NCAA tournament appearances as well.
Last year, what a season they had.
Yes.
It was a decorated, just really fun season to watch. Just how good they did in the American. They were ranked nationally, and got to be excited for that.
24-8 overall, 13-3 in the American a year ago. Lost to Oregon, the NCAA tournament, their first berth since 2011 to the dance. Latska lost it. Atkinson trying to take Jespersen, and here comes Tanaya Atkinson.
And that's what I meant by trying to make this messy. Try to turn USF over as much as possible. Through your defense, you're going to get some offense on the other end, which is what they did in the first half, slightly off the 6 turnovers South Florida had. They were able to score.
Flores over Shantae Taylor. Mayo trying to get it. Ferreira's there. And the call coming against the redshirt junior Ferreira. That's her 3rd foul.
Temple's had a hard time rebounding against South Florida all night. It's been a struggle on the glass.
And these are 2 of the better rebounding teams in the conference. In fact, Temple leads the American in offensive rebounding. On the defensive half, it belongs to South Florida. But just looking at the personnel, the length has to favor USF.
It does tonight, especially, for sure. And they seem to be the more physical team on the glass.
Atkinson cleaning up. Leverett had it for the Bulls, and pushing is Prieto. On the no-look pass to Jespersen, blazing past everybody.
Nice job, and Prieto with the court vision. Laksa really can run the floor. This team is in excellent shape.
Clinging to their man defense here are the Bulls. Atkinson on Jespersen. There's the double by Leverett. Extra pass. Reynolds, the lefty from 3. Out to Mayo. Fresh 30 here for Temple. Set play being called here by Tanya Cardoza. Side to Taylor with the left hand.
Nice job. That's the way to get down on the block and command the ball, command the block area, and be strong.
Just 1 of 6 from the field in the last 2 games against UCF and SMU. Jespersen with the left hand. Back-to-back buckets for the senior Jespersen.
What we're seeing here is Temple's youth on the defensive end, Dave, and that's the hardest thing to learn when you've got a lot of young players, is just the IQ of knowing when to rotate, when to help. That backside help is constantly late. South Florida just able to pick them apart.
And how about the defensive effort by Jespersen? She has 14 points, Julian, but she's been pinned this man defense against Atkinson.
And this is a nice job, and this is what I was talking about. Loxa easily gets to the rim, and then there's no help deep. You can see that from a mile away, and that's where the opposite side has to see the ball and the man and have your head on that swivel.
But look, she's right over Atkinson on every possession of the half court. Nonetheless, Micaiah Jones drains it from 3.
She's tough. Jespersen is tough, and she's not going to make anything easy for anyone she's covering. And she's been doing a terrific job on Atkinson, just being physical with her.
Jones 2 of 2 from 3 off the bench. Trying to isolate Leverett down low. Flores drawing the contact yet again for the Bulls.
She's got that little scoop shot down pat, little one-handed scooper that she seems to make, or almost make every time she draws the foul. She curls around, she absorbs the contact well, and what I like about her game is she's tough. She stays very low to the ground, and she's just kind of knack. She hasn't played well today offensively, but she's got 6 assists. She makes an impact when she's on the floor as their leader.
Has 5 double-figure games this season, including 17 against Michigan State. We mentioned the diverse roster. Played for the Spanish national team since she was just 12 years young.
Got a gold medal. A lot of these players have international experience, and I do think several of them will be good pros, especially Jespersen and Kitty Loxa, They're going to be good pros. That you can tell that their game will translate at the next level. Loxa will be the first as the oldest one, but she'll be a great WNBA player. They could always use a shooter like her.
They were led by Courtney Williams. Jenkins down low not too long ago. It's always Jose Fernandez.
And they're a pro.
Yeah. Fresh 30 here for the Bulls. Joe Vasili's going to check the clock here, I believe. 4:45 it stands right now.
And this will
be a 15-point edge for USF.
This should be a timeout here.
So
the floor. You've got to love the way all of his players have picked up. Loxa obviously having a performance, something we're typically used to seeing. Jespersen having a day, so a lot has worked for them. They've just been making shots.
Yeah, Jespersen 14 points, 4 in this quarter for the Bulls. Gets it right here.
Nice.
Give her 6 now with the stanza.
And that's the way to recognize the matchup problem. And Loxa had a smaller player on her, and they got it right to her. This is a smart team. They know how to abuse the matchup problems. And if you're Temple, you've got to be able to call that out and get help. Or you avoid switches.
Atkinson now is 13 in the game. 4 of 9 from the field. You know, you get the sense, Julianne, that USF has led in this one by as many as 20 points. But Temple is not going away, though.
That's their MO.
Back.
We've called them for a while, and how many times have we done Temple games and they've hung around and they've come back and cut the lead to 10 when it was 20 at one point. So you can never really fall asleep on Temple as Atkinson is continuing to fire away, and you've got a prime player like her on the floor. Nice pass.
Gets it from Jones. Tried to draw the contact. She's livid with the officials. No call.
There's 2 or 3 players around her.
Loxa. Here's Flores. Look at the spacing here from South Florida. Raider off the bench. Got a 3-second call by Joe Fazili. He's all over that. Go back to the Owls here. It is the 8th turnover on the Bulls. USF shooting 6 of 9 from the field. Reynolds was not on the same frequency there with Jones. And Temple can ill afford that here in the third quarter, trying to climb back in this one. The Owls, though, in the last game on Sunday, did avenge a 10-point deficit to SMU, won that game by 3. They've been in close games as well. They beat Marist by 6, lost to Villanova by 4. And Tanya Ardoza told us that this South Florida team is very much like Villanova, and a good test for Temple early on to start conference play.
And that's what you need. You need to play the tough teams to test you, to kind of help you get better throughout the season, which is why you play a tough non-conference schedule, which is why Jose Fernandez does that. But yeah, this will be a good test for Temple for sure. This is the top team in the league besides UConn, so you're getting them early and you're seeing the tone of what the conference is being set by. This is by far one of the best teams that you're going to face. And Temple's offense just hasn't been clicking lately. And they only scored 46 points against UCF on December 30th. Not a great sign. And the last time they did that was in the beginning of the season with 48 against Rutgers. You and I actually did that game. So they need to get consistent on that end of the floor. They're already past that point here, so that's a good sign.
And Rutgers is having a tremendous season. They're going to arguably have the best turnaround.
The biggest surprise team for
all of college basketball. Absolutely. Only 2 losses. And there's Davis coming in again off the bench.
And you felt bad for Rutgers last year. It was just such a bad year. Vivian Stringer was just hoping for it to end.
9 points for Davis. Latska has been quiet in the third quarter. Prieto saves it, gets it back to Kidia. She'll go to the line.
But that's the way to get the offensive board, and South Florida's done that all night. Just second and third chances because they've been the ones to out-hustle Temple at times to the glass. But Latska, how about the ability of her to, she doesn't just sit behind the arc. She recognizes, she misses the shot, and then she goes to the open space. She dives to the space and ends up getting the opportunity. She just has a knack for finding those gaps.
Up there in the American Conference as far as leading scorers are concerned, with Colby Morgan, who paces the American. UCF, it's Aaliyah Gregory. This player is a preseason first-team all-conference player, likely a WNBA player, under the tutelage of Jose Fernandez. And what's so great to watch with her, too, is her movement without the ball for Latska.
Yeah, she really does well off the ball. Daughter of 2 basketball coaches. I don't know if you even mentioned, might have mentioned that. They're both national teams. I mean, that's pretty cool.
Davis driving it again. She's going to be another player to watch out for in the future. Mia Davis, a prize recruit coming out of Baltimore at St. Francis Academy, has a high ceiling here.
She really does, and this is why she's able to catch, put the ball on the floor. She can turn and face, and nice hang time there and a pump fake to keep herself in the air. But for sure, she's only going to get better, and she was the leading scorer and rebounder this summer in Europe when they went to Europe. So she showed that ability to really lead a team, but averaging 9 rebounds a game right now.
Talking about a leader, a senior class president in high school.
Right.
I don't know about you, but I ran for treasurer, and I was dead last in the race.
I don't think I ran for anything. I was just playing basketball.
15-point game here in Philly. Here are the Bulls of the half court.
We were looking for state championships. That's what we were doing.
You were on the better half.
We're trying.
I was keeping score on the side. Latska for 3. Here comes the call on this side. Shannon Feck was all over that. It's going to go against Temple as the Bulls are trying to get the offensive rebound. Will put South Florida at the line in the bonus as the call's coming up here against Khadijah Berger, her first. Here's Henshaw, another player, Julianne. We haven't called her name too much really in the second and third quarters, but we've said that she's the American Freshman of the Year a year ago, but a prize piece down low coming from the other coast in Florida on the east side.
And what's cool about her is last year she played over 3 seniors, and basically she was signed and she was the better player. So she got a lot of time. She was hungry last year. She has the drive I think a lot of other players lack. So that's something Jose loves about her. She has that drive to get better. And she played a lot of 5 for them last year. She's playing some 5 now, and that's not a position that he actually recruited her for. But they can kind of play that all-guard kind of lineup because she can pop out.
15 points for Atkinson. Shreds down.
Nice roll. Good pass and roll.
And looking for Headshaw.
And they just have that really nice chemistry.
Almost a quiet 15 points for Tanaya Atkinson with the job Jesperson and company are doing against her. Davis driving it again. Atkinson, the offensive rebound, and gets it off the window. 13-point game just like that. Outlet to Prieto. Lotska has a seam with the right-hand floater. Can't get the roll. Cleaned up by Henschel. Misses the bunny. Second opportunity, no. Off of Atkinson. Lotska has it at a fresh 30 for the Bulls. Prieto for 3. Extra possessions for South Florida.
Wow, what a series of hustle plays, of rebounding. That's one scenario, and possession Jose Fernandez will highlight where he's pleased with, because that creates an opportunity. And you've got to be able to rebound better. Temple's small, and I know they're small this year, but they've got to be able to put bodies on players or they're going to get devoured at times against teams that are bigger than them. And that just goes with discipline and finding a person to box out.
Jose Fernandez telling Lotska to wait till about 10 seconds here. Here's Jesperson. Clayton to a 14-point lead for the Bulls. The play sent up for Lotska. Short. 3 seconds to go here for Davis from half court. And that will do it for the third quarter. South Florida continuing to have the advantage, but Temple not going away.
You gotta love the play.
3 quarters, and today Atkinson trying to get the Owls in it like she did in the third quarter.
Right, and Temple outscoring South Florida that quarter. She had 12 in the third. She got 19 overall, but she was 6 for 10 from the field that quarter. So if she can continue that efficiency, it'll bode well. I mean, you hit a couple threes and you're right back in this. Now, it's funny because she's almost had a quiet 19. To me, she doesn't look like she's having the best game. Imagine if she's had an even better game, how much closer this would be.
Jones for a deep 2 ball. Rebound to Lotska. Just 27 to pace all scores. Jesperson right behind her with 16. Prieto has 10 off the bench. Raider battling inside. Off of Berger. Davis trying to get it. Alternating possession will stay on this end of the floor. Tanya Cardoza wanted the foul call on the Bulls, but credit the hustle there by Raider and company.
And this is all about hustle right here, and you've got to love it. Raider with the opportunity here, misses it, and she goes after her own rebound, and she won't give it up. And that's been happening quite a lot tonight.
Traveling there on Ferreira. So Julian, Temple was down by as many as 20 in the latter stages of the first half. But they're not going away from this.
And that's, I think, the key. And South Florida turning the ball over a little bit more, too, in the second half.
Davis steps out from the elbow extended.
See a couple threes, and you're here back within 10.
Everybody else getting the free throw line more than South Florida in the game. They're 12 of 15 for the charity stripe. Flores did a good job of distributing, as always, into Raider.
But somehow these Temple guards are switching off to big players, and that's what keeps happening. And every time it happens, South Florida's smart enough to notice it and isolate their mismatch. And that time it was Raider, and she was up against Jones. Jones much smaller.
Freshman year, you mentioned at Northern Arizona. This year actually had to sit out the first 9 games because she transferred mid-year from the Big Sky Conference. But another player that adds depth into the interior. When you go against the length of some of these teams in the American, that should bode well for USA.
Yeah, they could use another player with her back to the basket. She can defend inside. She was this Big Sky Freshman of the Year, so she can play. She's versatile and has depth, like you said.
Into the post there for Davis. Kick out to Berger. Atkinson.
Nice.
Can't get it off the glass. Rindell's 19 points, 7 of 14 for the field for Tanaya Atkinson. Call away for the ball, going to go against Davis. That's her 4th, and a big number for Temple Owls. She's going to have to come out here for Shantae Taylor as a result. First 30 here for the Bulls. Raider inside past Taylor.
Nice.
She walked. This is not going to count. Joe Vasily and company were all over that.
Yeah, she had happy feet. That's the right call. But she's getting the ball, though, at will inside. They're able to get her the ball, and you've got to be able to put a body on her because she's continuing to be aggressive, which I like about her.
Bulls seem to execute proficiently off of those inbounds plays tonight. Jones trying to put it to Atkinson. And Taylor will draw the contact. So without Jesperson out right now, Julianne, it's the job of Ferreira to go along with Tanaya Atkinson. If you're just joining us, Jesperson, who's lighting it up, she has 16 points. She's not on the floor right now, but defensively, she's been superb against Atkinson.
She has, and now Atkinson is clearing everybody out because she's got a one-on-one situation. That's smart by her. She's not afraid to call her own number. She had Raider stuck on her, but you're right. Ever since she's been on the bench, Jesperson, I do think she's been the best matchup for Atkinson. She needs a little breather.
The Raiders going to come out here. Henshaw back in. Atkinson, good look for Taylor inside. Unselfish play there for Tanaya Atkinson, and just going over to Tanya Cardozo and telling her to settle down a little bit because, you know, Tanaya Atkinson at this stage in the game, USF also understands this. The ball's going to be in her hands a lot in the half court.
Right. She's going to have to take the most shots, create the most opportunities for her teammates. She's going to have to really do it all, and she's got to be sucking wind, too. She hasn't, I don't know that she's come out.
I think maybe just one time, which was mired by a foul or two, is Berger's going to come out here. Reynolds is going to come in as well. And it's also important to note for Atkinson, not only, you know, she had the ball in her hands when she's trying to score, but also facilitating and running the floor. And you talked about almost that positionless basketball for Temple.
Right. And that takes a lot of wind out of your body, out of your lung span. She's played almost the whole game.
Bulls leading by 13. Prieto with a good move on Reynolds. Ferreira from the corner. Way off of Reynolds into Henshaw. Again, another extra possession of the Bulls, and they'll go to the line.
It's been the Achilles heel tonight for Temple. When South Florida doesn't make it the first time, they're getting second and third chances to put it in. And when you give a team as superb at shooting and putting the ball in the basket as USF more than one opportunity, you're going to be in trouble.
And Jose Fernandez's team, Julian, has gone up against the length of Notre Dame, of St. John's, Oklahoma, which they lost by 5. They're used to this. And you're seeing a multitude of players crash the glass. It takes all 5 players to be assertive.
Put the effort in, yeah, and that's an assertive team. And Henshaw, since her freshman year, was putting that work in, and why she got minutes last year was because of that ethic.
Jones going to slow it up here near the half court. 13 down by 14. And it was a 5-point game. 3 minutes into the second quarter. Jones, it's a deep 2 ball, might have got hit. And the rebound to Ferreira. Flores back out to Ferreira. Trying to spin away here from Jones. Jones will be the culprit, and Ferreira will go back to the line.
Mikey Jones, that's his second, team 4. The lines number 10, Laura Ferreira.
Ferreira, using her experience, just held to 2 points, 1 of 16 in the UConn game. And you almost have to throw away the numbers from the UConn performance. Not a test of the dominance, obviously, of Gino Auriemma's club.
Yeah.
Recently won their 100th consecutive regular season game over UCF last night.
You really do. You've got to throw it out. Because if you dwell on that game and you lose all of your confidence from getting blown out by the Huskies, they've done it to so many other teams. You will just shoot yourself in the foot. So, I mean, that's what you do. You watch the film, you get through it, you learn about yourselves, and you move forward. They're going to have to play them again. So I think for them, they've just got to go into their next performance against UConn thinking we want to make ourselves look better than we did in that first game, because they kind of rolled over. They just didn't play well at all. They looked almost like they played scared, which that's not what Jose wants out of his veteran group. So second time around, I guarantee you that won't happen.
Jesperson back on the floor for the Bulls, 16 points. On the defensive side, it's Ferreira, though, that's challenging Atkinson in the man defense. 10 to shoot here for Ferreira. Trying to take Davis right to the rack. Good speed.
Nice job by Ferreira, just able to get to the rim.
To shoot here for Atkinson amid Ferreira. Good move down low. Can't get it off the glass. Picked up by Jesperson. Tipped by Atkinson. Davis going to the floor as well. We'll stay on this end of the alternating possession.
A good hustle, though, by Atkinson to get a piece of that. She tipped it ever so slightly to keep the ball alive.
Possession goes to the eye.
Cardozo has to like the way her effort is displaying right here on the floor with her players out there, especially down by 18. And Davis walked. That was good defensive effort by Henshaw. And you've said it. You can center on the offensive game with South Florida. Defensively, how good is this team in the American Conference?
I think very good, because I think that they're disciplined, and that's a key for any team. They're veteran and they're disciplined, so they know Jose's system really well by this season. Players that have been there, done that, they've gotten acclimated to his style, and so I think that really, really shows how good they are. They work hard, they communicate.
Ferreira's the last 6 points for the Bulls, back to a 20-point deficit. Nonetheless, Temple getting it done there with Mia Davis. She's going to the line looking to complete the three-point play.
A nice cut here by Davis from that high post area. The foul line extended. Good, aggressive, put the head down and go type move. She's had a good performance tonight. She's been assertive, looking for her shot.
It's 4 double-doubles this season, the last coming against South Carolina. 18-point lead here for the Bulls. Prieto driving it, gave it up to Ferreira. It's a good run there by Jesperson off the ball.
And that's good help. That's the first time I've seen proper help defense for the Temple Owls off that backdoor cut by Berger.
Yeah. Berger and Reynolds, and also Mayo went to the floor as well. But it's all Bulls here in Philly. Dave Leto, Julian Vianney, and our entire crew in Philadelphia. 4:35 remaining in regulation. USF leading by 18. 5 to shoot here out of the timeout. Lonska. And we'll stay on this end for the Bulls yet again. It's been a theme throughout this one as they have dominated on the glass. Temple now hindered to just 2 of 8 shooting in the fourth quarter. 0 of 3 from 3. It's a South Florida team, Juliet, that's shooting over 52% in the game.
That's difficult when they are shooting so well and getting a lot of what they like. And that's a tough shot, but off the dribble, Laksa has been dynamic all over the floor. And it's interesting because, I mean, she got Freshman of the Year over Katie Lou Samuelson. You really think about that, that is pretty darn good when you think about how good UConn's Katie Lou Samuelson is. And so every time they play each other, there's a little bit of that healthy competition between the two of them.
Atkinson drains the three. That's her first three of the game. Now it's 22 tonight. And Katie Lou Samuelson, Kia Nurse, Collier as well for UConn, just doing great things, continuing to be dominant for Gino Oriema. Lotska again.
She's in the zone right now.
Yeah, because she's been quiet really in latter stages of the third, carried over to the early stages of the fourth. One shy of 30 in the game.
South Florida looks a little tired this possession here, slowing it way down.
A plus 10 advantage on the boards. There's Jespersen derailed by Taylor, but Jeff Smith has the call. We'll go against Shantae Taylor, the sophomore. That's the 15th foul on the Owls. We'll send the Bulls to the line with Jespersen.
And Jespersen, when she was asked about why she chose South Florida, she said, coming from Denmark, I didn't know anything about USF. And that's the funny thing about these European players. She had no idea. 5 years ago when they contacted me, it was the first time I'd even heard of the school. And she said just coming to the warm place was great. She knew she would fit in immediately. She played against Ferreira before she got there, so I think Ferreira had a little bit of a say in her comment, which is kind of cool, but she really likes it. They all get really close. They've got that bond because they don't have family here. You think about how far they are from home.
She's led the team in scoring 3 of the last 4 games. From 25, 17, and 18 against Cincinnati, Tulane, and Michigan State as well.
That looked like all ball to me. But she was behind the play.
5 team fouls on the Bulls as well. We'll send Atkinson back in the charity stripe. And you mentioned the growth of Jespersen, but for Atkinson as well, starting out here as a freshman and then getting to a few WNITs. One was the semifinals, the others the Temple lost in heartbreaking fashion in the quarters as well, getting to the NCAA tournament last year for the first time since 2011. She's played with some fantastic players.
She really has, and she's gotten better and better each year. I remember when she came in as a freshman, she didn't know how to play D. And I remember Coach Cardoza saying that about her, and she's learned how to defend and how to get out and transition offensively and do the offensive thing. She's always had that offensive ability, but defensively, Coach Cardoza said, you know, back then, she wasn't really prepared at that level. She's always had the body. When she came in, she had that strong athletic body. And she's just improved each year. And this is her team.
Crossover. Yep. Especially losing Fiona Fitzgerald last year. Yeah, Donasia found so many weapons on the offensive side for Temple. Leah Butts out, really not so much the case as far as a depth scoring. There's Jespersen yet again for the Bulls. 20 points for Jespersen.
She's getting to the rim at will.
As with Elmore and Creighton, Wichita State is a new member of the American Conference. As for the Temple Owls, up next, they'll be at Cincinnati facing Anna Owens and Janice Johnson. Two teams will meet 4 games as well at the Sun Dome in Tampa.
Conference play underway. This is what you play for here. Every game counts. You want to make it to the NCAA tournament. That's every team's goal.
25 points for Atkinson. 2 minutes to play in Philly. Lotska off the mark. Rebound there to Leverett. And the foul here against Mayo of Temple. Back to that Temple schedule. Houston is also a vastly improved team, Julia. They have Jasmine Harris. They have pulled off the last 6 games as well. Ron Huey doing an exceptional job, and it's great for the conference. See so many of these teams are at the bottom, like Houston and UCF, now climbing towards the middle of the pack.
Yeah, and that's the game I'm most looking forward to seeing is that Houston game, because I want to see them in conference play, and they certainly have been terrific, and that will make your conference better. The addition of Wichita State, obviously a big basketball move by the conference. and more so for the men's side because the men's team is terrific, but I think it'll take some time for the women's team to get there, but a great addition as well.
Jesperson went to the bench, 20 points, 5 rebounds tonight for her. Did a marvelous job on the defensive side on Atkinson, really for 3/4 plus. Now here against Ferreira, the Bulls. Both teams in the bonus. Temple back at the line with Atkinson. Fourth foul for Ferreira. Temple, Juliana, preseason in the American poll picked to finish 3rd. Obviously, that was, of course, with Aaliyah Butts, who's preseason 2nd all-conference. USF was picked to finish 2nd, right behind UConn.
And that was no surprise. And sometimes I think that's the harder thing when you go in and the target's on your back. And think about USF. They get every team's absolute best effort because nobody can really beat UConn. So they kind of just blow that off as a team that they're not going to beat. They're going to get the L in their column for that. But USF is a team that's beatable, but they're number 2. So technically they kind of get that number 1 status, I feel like.
Stolen away here by Prieto. Five losses or less in the last 3 years under Jose Fernandez in conference play. Aside from UConn, you look at some of the other players that have been so dominant in the teams. Of course, you have to point to
since 2014, so this would be a 4th straight trip for them if they're able to go. And Atkinson out of the game now, and she battled hard, had a lot on her shoulders tonight, but Jose Fernandez, an 18 season, the all-time winningest coach in history. I was there for his 300th win last year against Memphis. They went crazy for him at the Sundome, well-deservedly.
She had an off night for Tanaya Atkinson. She did have 27 points and 6 rebounds as well. You just got to credit that USF defense. They had quite a game plan.
And she's going to get that a lot. I mean, unfortunately, that's going to be tough all season. But she's a good enough player where she's going to continue to put numbers up and get shots and learn how to adapt with that.
One of the top scorers of the American Conference, and as the American Conference season progresses, she's going to learn from this type of matchup when she sees doubles, even triple teams down low. Inside to Taylor. Mayo for 3. You know, she's had a nice shot from the wing.
She does. She really has a nice stroke. Good release. She's got that arc going on, and she's made some tonight, and that's a good sign from Mayo. They need that confidence and that assertiveness out of her.
15 seconds left in Philly. Bulls will improve to 13-4, 3-1 overall in American Conference action, and the offensive board belonging to Leverett. Temple's going to fall to 9-6, 1-2. And that will do it here from Philadelphia. Resounding victory for Jose Fernandez in South Florida.
Yeah, they shot the lights out, and they were able to do what they needed to do, and that's score. And if you can't quite keep up with